is Jenny, and I'm a wife and mom raising 2 kids. But I used to live a more glamorous life as a TV reporter. I was on the nightly news interviewing pop stars and politicians. So when I said goodbye to TV and hello to motherhood, I suddenly discovered what we moms are up against. We live in a world that tells us to be rich and famous, thin and successful. You know, almost nobody says,
oh, hey, you're a mom? That's fabulous. But you are fabulous, and I'm here to tell you why.
It's the Channelmom Show, celebrating you with Jenny Dean Schmidt.
Bruno Mars. Okay. All right, let's get to something serious. Stop, Josh. This is the Channelmom Show, where we are celebrating you on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7. I'm your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt. And now we have a fabulous guest. Her name is Lauren Miller, and she is Google's #1 stress relief expert. Lauren has received national recognition in Red Book, Ladies Home Journal, CNBC, Lifetime, and Discovery. With 10 years of proven experience and 18 years of intensive extended education in the areas of anxiety relief and stress reduction. You know what? I think she's just for me. Everybody else can just tune out if they need to, but I'm going to listen to her. She has written about her own journey through stage 3 breast cancer. Lauren is just about to release her new book, 99 Things You Wish You Knew Before Stressing Out. Welcome, Lauren.
Hi, Jenny. How are you this morning?
Oh, I'm good. And I'm especially good because you're here and you're going to help me with my stress. And I'm hoping you're going to help a lot of moms.
Thanks for the opportunity to share. I appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. Okay. I know that moms out there really do need to hear what you have to share because the stress level with all that is expected nowadays, especially of moms who also work outside the home, you just have a lot to share with them. So let's begin by asking about your story. What led you to write this book that's getting so much attention because people really do need it? What unfolded in your story that you came to this place?
You know, this book actually came to me. My first book, Hearing His Whisper, was something that I had worked on probably for about 8 years. This book actually came from, it came out of going to an event in Philadelphia, and somebody else was writing a book for this particular publisher out of Canada, and they said, oh, you could write the book on stress easily. Mm-hmm. So they said, well, what would you call the title? And it's the 99 series. So I said, well, 99 things you wish you knew before stressing out, because 80% of disease is stress related.
Yeah.
So we need prevention.
Yes, we do.
It's not a matter of, yes, I work with clients one-on-one, but I also run workshops and seminars and all of that. However, it's all prevention-based. I do a lot of cleanup work with people, guiding them back to themselves so they could remember that they have a choice whether to stress or not to stress in situations. Mm-hmm. And we forget that we do have that choice and all the skills within us to be able to make that choice on the spot. It's just a matter of knowing them consciously and then acting on them. And when you do that, it makes all the difference in the outcome.
Oh, I know, and I love that it's 99 things because you just, I was previewing the book last night, and you just have, tip after tip after tip that's very easy to follow. But really, I'm also trying to drive out, Lauren, the incredible thing that was unfolding in your own life, and that you learned about stress from, because I think moms can identify with your story. What happened to you?
Sure. About 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to go through 2 of the top stressors at the same time, which for me wasn't a surprise with the work that I feel God's calling me to do in this world, that I would find myself in the eye of the storm of 2 of the top stressors, divorce and cancer. Mm-hmm. So when it was my final divorce court date about a week before, I got the phone call that began with, "Are you sitting down?" which is never a good opening connection statement to make.
Yeah, really.
So that hit right before the big storm of going through a divorce. I come from a long line of marriages, and so truly in my heart of hearts, I believe in marriage. Mm-hmm. And so to be in a situation that I'm not aligned with what I value most in life, anytime we're not aligned with something we value most in life, stress increases in the body. The cortisol levels soar, the blood pressure goes up, inflammation goes up, when we're not in line with what we value most. So I wasn't. Mm-hmm. And so my body was shutting down. I had stage 3 breast cancer, and it had spread through 4 different quadrants on the left side through my lymphs, and they were giving me about a 50% chance of survival at the time. And so I remember coming in, and after the phone call, and just nobody was in the house, and I just threw myself on the floor, just rolling around and crying out to God and crying out against the diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then, God really led me to a great place of surrender, because all things surrendered to God, I have found, resolve themselves beautifully.
Yeah.
And but yet I kicked and screamed my way there. Another essential ingredient for inner peace is to give yourself permission to feel any and every emotion without judgment. Mm-hmm. Because as human beings, we define, we need to come to conclusions, we analyze, we interpret, we need to own, control, and possess in order to feel safe inside of our bodies. Mm-hmm. When the truth of the matter is, we are constantly safe. And I had the opportunity to experience a near-death experience 2 different times during all of the treatment. In less than 2 years, I went through a year of chemo, additional 16 chemo rounds to that, 6 weeks of daily radiation, 12 surgeries, a MRSA staph infection. That was one of the close calls that spread through my bloodstream, and so many different opportunities to practice really what I had been learning about and teaching for 20 years.
Right.
And so being able to emerge out of the eye of the storm, and now being in a position to be able to reach my hand back into the storm and grab a hold of the hands of those people that cannot see and hear and respond, because the weight of the elements contained in the storm are too dense. Yeah. And so it's now that I'm in a place of more clarity after emerging from the dark night of the soul, I'm just very grateful to be in a position to empower people to remember that yes, they can heal and they can choose inner peace no matter what surrounds them.
Right. I mean, I just felt better reading a few excerpts from your book, because I thought, oh my gosh, I can do this. I can do this. And you're right, that part of it is just surrendering it all to God, and then it gets better. Yep. I want you to talk about what stress does to us in our modern culture. I mean, sometimes I really think that people could almost throw out all of their diets and all of their pills that they'd use to prevent sicknesses and just focus on reducing their stress, and they'd be 80% of the way there. So to talk about, just for a minute, because I also want to get to a few tips.
Sure.
Talk about what stress is doing to us in our modern culture and to moms.
Yeah, it fragments us. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It fragments us and causes us to forget the strength and the power that we have within to move from that power. We knew that in kindergarten when we just had that kind of single frequency going on in energy work, the connection to God and knowing ourselves to be capable of just exploring and being curious and fascinated. And the problem is that curiosity and fascination has been replaced by assumptions and attachments. And so those assumptions and attachments increase all of the stress hormones in the body and the feelings of threat in the body. And what happens during stress is actually the front part of the brain, which is responsible for the sensory intake, what we see, feel, hear, smell, all of the sensory awareness becomes so huge, it's like a tsunami, and it literally floods the back part of the brain, which is the ability to reason, the ability to come up with creative solutions, the ability to process the information you're experiencing in life. And so as the stress increases, our inability to be able to function diminishes greatly because of the sensory overload. And it's usually the fight, flight, or freeze response. It's because we are perceiving a situation as a possible threat to our sense of safety. And in the true sense of the meaning of the word stress, it is truly just a signal within your body. Everybody feels it in different places. A signal within your body giving you the opportunity to identify and adjust your perception of any situation before you.
Right, and you can just change right there.
We can.
I like Dr. Caroline Leaf, and she talks about that too. That you can just, and I'm sure you're probably familiar with her too. You can just change that decision.
You can shift.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to get to a few ideas from your upcoming book, which I'm so excited to read myself. And one of the things I read is that you can quickly make a decision. So I want moms listening today who are just thinking, I can't take it anymore. I am so stressed out. I have so much to do. I'm freaking out. That there are a few really quick things that you say at the very beginning of the book about remember what you value. And sometimes I thought of how I just will lie down with my son or my daughter and just snuggle with them, and that will change everything. And so I'm just remembering what I value, and all the stuff I'm worried about goes away. Remember that we're not perfect. My mom was very fond of saying that growing up, that we're just not perfect. And finally, the breathing. And I want people to know this because it's really true that if they don't take care of their stress, they're going to get sick. So why don't you give people a few quick tips?
Well, you mentioned a couple really powerful ones. The other thing, too, to understand is that whatever you focus on grows bigger quickly. Mm-hmm. So if you're focusing on what's not working out for you in your day, whatever that would be, then you're going to see it grow very quickly, and it's actually a physiological thing. There's a piece in the brain in the base of the brainstem called the reticular activating system, and its sole purpose is behavioral motivation and to tune in to whatever you're focusing on. Mm-hmm. This is the part of the brain that, like when you're looking for a car or a pair of shoes or something, you see them everywhere because it tunes in. It literally is tuning in, constantly tuning in. The key thing to know is that you can program it by your choice of focus. Mm-hmm. And so as you're going through your day, rather than looking at things as rejection or failure, and failure is simply a label we put on events that have undesirable outcomes. That's all failure is. Mm-hmm. And so shift your perception. Rather than looking at it as a downfall, look at it as an opportunity for learning and growth. Mm-hmm. So anything that comes your way as you're going through your day, if it bumps you, just shift into the perception of curiosity and fascination versus being attached to needing a certain outcome, needing your children to respond a certain way, act a certain way, or you preparing things a certain way, whatever it might be that causes you anxiety, your inner list of, in order to love and accept myself, I need this, this, and this to happen in my day. Throw that list away and be present to the life in front of your face.
Yeah.
Because when you are breathing and you're present to the life in front of your face, you're present to the spirit within you, and you're able to light up the world, not only within you, but around you. It's the assumptions and attachments that flood our expectations in life. And so once we release those and return to a place of gratitude, aligning ourselves with what we value most, and also to remember that whatever you focus on grows bigger. I had a little mantra, it's not rejection, it's just direction. Looking at everything in life as direction, as guidance. Yeah. This is an opportunity for growth. Yeah. Life is a schoolhouse.
Absolutely. And I love that perspective change, and it's something I need to focus on. We've got to go, but I want to make sure that you tell people very briefly about your book launch party and where people can find you and your book.
Sure. There is the actual launch is this Tuesday, and the website is beforestressingout.com. Beforestressingout.com. Just go there on Tuesday, and there's a ton of free gifts. And we're also launching Stress Solutions University, which is going to be the online video site that goes hand in hand with the 99 things. So just quick 2 to 3 minute teachings on how to de-stress your life quickly, and you can actually see them demonstrated.
Oh, beautiful.
So.
Awesome. Lauren, you're fantastic, and I'm so blessed to know that you are healing and you're ready to help other people heal. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate it.
All right. Take care. Good luck with that book launch.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Check out our Channel Mom's tips for busy moms.
Right on. All right. Shelly's got our quick tip today for busy moms. Shelly.
Okay, so this is for moms who work from home. So this is for you, Jenny.
Okay.
So if you're working from home and your kids are home for the summer and they're getting in your way of getting your work done, you need to establish office hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you post them.
You post them. Yeah. And if you can even shut the door. This might not be working in your house, but if you have a place in your house where you can shut the door and let the kids know that these are your office hours and you're going to work from, say, 7 to 12, and they're to leave you alone until you're done. Now, the key is when your work is done, you're done. You don't go back into the office. Yeah. Your work is done for the day. And that should help you with your stress, too.
It should, because you sort of have this guilt and you're sort of trying to do two things at once and you're afraid to say no to them. And you know, my kids are at the age where they really can handle it. They can go read or do something outside or whatever. And I'm trying to do something good for moms, so I don't need to feel bad about that. But yeah, you're right. I hope every mom out there is empowered to post a list of work hours so that their children could be doing something else while they're doing a little bit of work.
Yeah, and you can also set breaks in your time. So say you want to set a 10-minute break every hour or every hour and a half, then you can get out and see your kids and say hi and go back in.
I like it. Thank you for the tip for busy moms, Shell. All right, you are listening to the Channel Mom Show, where we are celebrating you on Mile High Sports Radio, AM 1510, FM 93.7. I'm your host, Jenny Dean Schmidt. Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope we've been an inspiration to you. Please join us next week and join us on Facebook.com/Channel Mom. Talk to us about the show today. I'd love to hear from you. All right, take care.